our mask breath.
Oh, how are you?
Or take one to put in your coffee for later. I've heard these are really good to put in coffee. I don't drink coffee myself. But these.
There is a little delay.
Like a minute?
Is there much of a delay?
Because it went full screen on the
Yeah.
computer, but it's
Okay.
not up.
Maybe
What did you share?
I just shared my whole screen. Yeah, I'll try again. Share. Yep, the whole desktop. Great. Super weird. I'm gonna stop share. Stop. Let's try again. Maybe it just.
Otherwise, I'm sick.
There we go. All right.
See if it
Steve
progresses.
told here.
Just progress one. See.
All right. All right. Cool.
Woohoo!
All right. If you guys want to go to that link to get ready for the session, that would be putting you in the best spot.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm Rich. I'm part of the presentation committee. He's the stream team. So you guys in the room, so you don't really need me. But I just, I'm part of the presentation committee, so I
Yeah,
walk
no.
around, count, and all that stuff. So, Prince William County?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Yes.
That's fine. What school or schools?
I'm at Freedom,
Which is where?
in Woodbridge.
Okay.
And I'm at Woodbridge.
Okay. Oh, neat. Nice elementary, high school combination.
Oh, no, we're Woodbridge.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Where are you at?
I'm in Virginia Beach.
Oh, okay. Nice.
But my brother and family lived in Northern Virginia for a long time. Montclair,
Okay. Yeah.
Hilton, the
Yeah.
kids went to. So, good deal. And then just, have you had a chance to put up your materials in Sched?
We did it. Yep.
Man, people are so awesome these days.
I know.
They
We're
bring their
trying.
dongles, they put things in Sched. I mean, it's like everyone knows how to do things anymore.
I know. What? We don't need you. No, just kidding.
Well, no,
Totally do. We
well,
did. We
well,
did.
yeah, you do. So I can have the thing you do counts for my people are here. Hey, have a great session.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
How are you?
I was like, wait, am I gonna find her? How are you? It's so good to
Good.
meet you.
You as well.
I said that same thing, like, it's all these people we just, it's got to come together.
See it. Yeah. Are you presenting today?
Get like in trouble. Yeah.
I stayed.
Yes, you went to see Stephanie. How are you?
That's good.
Oh,
Here's
good.
what it is.
We did a session
Some days
yesterday.
it's
She should come in.
And I think some years like dehydrated
Lose track.
and
But people are really. Canvas. I said, I'm the course. I said, it works great. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm good. And I forget what school it is. It's Williams too. Yeah.
Should we have, Danny, should we have our cameras on?
I got it. Chilling through the program.
Turn our camera on? Okay.
No, the camera's back there.
Oh, okay.
You have a camera on already.
Yeah, sure.
Where, you know, our goal is the model. So that they- I didn't write the course. I wrote the Oh, awesome. Oh, thanks for that's great. Yeah, I saw your tweet. I liked it. Oh, yeah, I'm trying to get out as much as I can, but yeah, Dave wanted to come in. Dave's supposed to be here. I don't like to see she.
Yeah.
I just do. She's good.
I have a.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. See you later.
And then I have an HDMI adapter, but I don't do
I get older. I'm very tentative. Okay. Someone else over. And then I have to pick two. Are they putting on there? Sure, yeah.
We'll try.
Yeah.
You just gotta
So everyone, the first session was great, wasn't it? It's nice to have some like levity and laughs.
Yeah, how many other people added their podcast to the list? Because I definitely did.
So if you want to go to the link, there's going to be several interactive parts. So be helpful for you to go to what we made as a Adobe Spark page, and the links to all the things will be there. So you'll just go to bit.ly, and it's all lowercase, ISTE 21 Spark. You guys are my first face-to-face presentation since January 2020. Except for school, I mean, that's a little.
It's right here. It's right.
All right, we're gonna get started. Welcome to Spark Up Your Life with Adobe Spark. I'm Katie Fielding. I am a tech coach in Prince William County Schools. I am a Google Innovator Trainer and Coach, Canvas Certified Educator, and I'm on the Adobe Creative Crew, which is a select group of educators, I guess. All right, and this is?
I'm Emily Robinson. I'm also an instructional technology coach in Prince William County. Katie and I have some of the similar qualifications. I'm also a Canvas certified educator. I do Apple. I am not a Adobe Creative Crew. I'm just a general like Adobe level 1 and level 2. But I think it helps that like I'm still in that learner mindset of like, how can I learn these things? How can I teach them to teachers? How can I help kids learn them? And how can we all learn together? And like, how can we make creativity a part of instruction and assessment? It doesn't need to be one or the other. It can kind of come into both. So for this, we're going to talk a lot about like thinking about the ISTE standards. These are a lot about being designers. So how can you think about the ISTE standards in your work as an admin, a tech coach, a teacher, Or how can you think about even the student standards for design? So if you want to think about them, like using technology to create and personalize learning experiences. Using Adobe Spark lets you have students can use that platform in so many different ways. They're getting that choice and voice, but it's still streamlining in that it is tool agnostic. It doesn't matter what device they're on, they still can do the activity. They can have the supports built in that they need. It's going to be an authentic learning experience because you can tie it to other context and connections, and it's letting them create a product as well as developing some skills. And then if you're thinking more along the lines of UDL, it's going to hit engagement as well as representation. So if you're going to use Spark from the educator standpoint and use it in instructional tools, it can help recruit interest. You're showing students information in new ways that really draws them in. They don't always want to have to read just pages. Like if you can add that text with those videos and those images into one cohesive document, like the page that you guys are on for our Spark page, and it's going to have some sustaining effort and persistence. It also supports representation because they can have comprehension. They can read, they can watch, they can see. It's going to build in all the different media for them. So this is also supporting that there's some self-regulation, there's perception, there's action. It lets students, depending on how you deploy the tool, and all three of the Adobe Spark products, the page, the post, and the video, lets you see, like have students reflect. They build, they reflect, they modify. It's just not a static one document. It lets them continue to work through it. You're gonna jump. So if you have not pulled up this Spark page yet, it will this will probably be most helpful. Just bit.ly/Spark20, VISTE21.
bit.ly/VISTE21 Spark, all lowercase. And it's linked in our, in the sketch. It's in that, there's a PowerPoint linked and it's on the first page. Linked.
So if you scroll through this, there is a creative notes document that you can all share and learn together. But we are going to jump into this one, the share your thoughts on this Padlet.
Having a collaborative notes document is a nice UDL support. So that first thing, if you like to take notes, feel free to jump into that. It's just a Google Doc and you can take notes with everyone in the room. But we're going to start with the why creativity is important Padlet today.
So if you click the link, you're just going to jump over to the Padlet, click the pink plus button, and let us know what you think. Why is creativity important? This could be just why is it important in general? Why is it important in education? Why is it important in instruction? Why is it important in assessment?
Loving these responses. Self-expression, deeper learning.
It gives everyone a voice, autonomy.
And you guys are being very text heavy today, but in Padlet, you can also share GIFs and images. So if you have something like that you want to share, Padlet is also a great tool for having students to be able to share in the way of their choice.
And we'll talk about this a bit later, but like one of the benefits of using Spark is that you can either download your creation or share it as a link, and then you can share that into things like Padlet so students can easily see each other's. You can create a class brainstorm. You can curate artifacts as a class. A student could also curate artifacts throughout a year as to create a portfolio.
Great responses. So I think we all can really see how important creativity is and how it can increase engagement in the classroom.
So creativity is intelligence having fun. You can share information. You can assess student knowledge and comprehension, but it's still having fun. It's supporting all learners in different ways. Some students might be very text heavy. They can still integrate words into their creations. And if language and writing is not their greatest strength at the beginning, they can build on that with having more images and graphics and videos and audio. It just lets them have a little bit of creativity as well as grow on their weaknesses and showcase their strengths. So there is a top 10 skills of 2025, and that is why we want to think about why would you create? And creativity lets you support all of these. So if you want to think about going through them, it's going to support analytical thinking and innovation, active learning and learning strategies. It's complex problem solving. There's critical thinking and analysis. This is especially true if you design your activity with students really well, where they're not just going to put up one thing, they're going to curate something, they're going to create a product that they really had to critically think about, analyze, compare and contrast, pull it together, and show it in their own unique way. They're not just going to be able to copy their neighbor's answers to say, lakes are like oceans because, but they're different because, like, that's a quick thing to copy. But when you have to create a product, you're going to pull in your own interests, your own self-reflection, and you're going to have a much deeper critical thinking. It supports creativity and originality and innovation. It's leadership and social influence. This is also where you can kind of draw in a lot of student interest. They're very into graphics. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're on whoever knows what's going to be popular next week. But they want to create things, they want to share what they create, and it lets them do this in a digital way. There's technology use, monitoring, and control. So by teaching skills in class, you're teaching students how to use those devices and those apps to learn, to connect, to share, to communicate, rather than just to escape or avoid. It's technology, design, and programming. Once they start the basics, they can go deeper and figure out, how does this work? Why is it happening? How can you add on to it? It's resilience, stress tolerance, and flexibility. You might have a great idea in your head of what you want this product to look like, but creating it in a digital environment is not necessarily the same as creating it on paper. Some students are going to be great on digital and some are better in a traditional art class, but you're going to have some resilience in like trying to figure out, it's a new learning curve. It also lets you come back to it because it's not just one final thing. You didn't just paint that painting and turn it in and walk away. You're doing it on a device. You can share it, get feedback, edit, reflect, come back to it over and over. And it's reasoning, problem solving, and ideation. And that's kind of that cyclical part, especially if you start building in a portfolio over time. You can see how you've grown, not just in content, but in reflection and in creation. See, it checked all the boxes with the top skills.
All right, so how many of you guys have Adobe Spark set up for your district? Love to see your hands. All right, awesome, love it. So if you do not, it is a 100% free tool from Adobe, and you can get it set up with your single sign-on. You can have Canvas integration if your district's using Canvas. So I just wanted to start with that it's free. It is FERPA and COPA compliant, so if your district does not have it set up, like, you should be running to get it set up right now. So let's get into it. I'm going to sit down because I've been sitting while presenting for a couple years now. And it'll just be a little bit easier. So I'm going to kind of lead you through the different aspects of Adobe Spark. So in your Adobe Spark, when your students get into it, where they can really customize how their videos, web pages look is in the brand kit. So I'll do a little bit of an overview of that. I like to always start there with students. It helps them build a brand identity. This is really, really good if you're doing any marketing classes or elements of marketing into any of your content-specific classes. All right, with Adobe Spark, you can make small single-page web pages. I love these for portfolios or anything text-heavy, essays, book talks, or book reviews, lab reports, so they can add elements of images. That's what pages are great for. So if it was text-heavy before in another type of document or on paper, an Adobe Spark page is where you're gonna want to take that. Then you can make posts. These are graphic posts. So these might be your posts for social media, If it was a poster before, it can be an Adobe Spark post now, is what I like to say. And then videos. This is really great for adding that oral speaking element to anything you want your students to create. They can upload real video, but they can also just quickly, easily add a voiceover speaking over some slides or images that they create. And so we'll look at all three of these creations today. I also want to point out the Adobe Educator Exchange. This is a spot for professional development and ideas of learning. So I'll just show that first. So this is the Adobe Education Exchange, edx.adobe.com. It should be linked it's in the presentation. Yeah, it's there. So you can search by topic. There is collaborations with Khan Academy in here. So all types of pre-made lessons that you can go for. Also under this professional learning area, if you complete this Creativity for All course, that's where you can earn your Adobe Level 1 badge. And the creation that you guys are going to be making later today will fulfill that creation requirement for the course. So basically you can just come in here later and don't tell anyone I said this, but just click through the module and then submit your image, and then you'll have your Level 1 badge. You can go through the module if you want. There's some good content in there. All right, so let's get into a little quick tour of Adobe Spark. So I just go to spark.adobe.com. I log in. I have it set up for single sign-on with my district. So if you don't, I would just recommend maybe logging in with the Google. You won't have the full effect. Probably in this top left corner over here, you'll see like a little upgrade button. So that will tell you that you don't have like an official school account. So up by the Spark, you see like a little yellow crown and a like upgrade now. That would say like you're not in an official school account and your district should go set something up. All right, I always like to tell kids and teachers to start from this blue plus sign, and that's where you can start creating either a flyer, that's your Adobe Spark post, a web page, those are your pages, and your video. So I'm just gonna jump into a web page real quick to show you just how easy it is for students to create a web page and how easy it is for them to find images to add to it. So I always like to tell kids when we are on the page to start in the theme. And you can see my first 3 themes are my brand themes, which I'll show you that brand kit in a minute. That's where you can really customize the look. But there are great pre-made themes. So if you're especially working with a younger student, just have them jump into one of the pre-made themes. And again, you get to themes in the top right corner where it says themes. You can have multiple brands. So you can see that I have multiple brands right here. So if I'm jumping between something I'm making for my personal work and something I'm making for my school, like maybe a newsletter, I can jump between that easily. All right, and then I just have to add content. ISTE 21. And it's so easy to add photos. You just click plus sign, and then you can totally upload photos if you want, but finding free photos that are Creative Commons licensed are just as easy as clicking the Find Free Photos button and searching. All right, that looks great. And then it's just a matter of scrolling and picking what you want to add. You can add photos, videos. The videos can either be Adobe Spark videos from something you've made, or they can be a YouTube link. So you can easily add that onto the page. You can add buttons. I like to have students when we're making portfolios use the button to link to a document that they want to reflect on. So maybe they've made a Google Doc. They're going to use that button to link to it and then write their reflection about their creation here on the Adobe Spark page. Questions about the Adobe Spark page?
Katie, I'm just curious, do most students kind of jump in? I mean, I look at this, I have to be honest and go, I am not a graphic designer.
Yeah.
This is lovely because it seems to do a lot of that stuff for me. And I've only played around with it a little bit.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. In your experience, both of you, how do most students respond pretty well and pretty quickly?
Yeah.
I support a lot of L classes, and level 1s and 2s take to this immediately. It's very similar to like all social media design things. So they've experienced similar, like add a picture, add some words, but like the interaction is very comfortable for them, that then they just have to work the content or the language part the like technology part is the easiest part for them.
Yeah, I like it, if you probably also use maybe a Google site with a student. This is even simpler because there's no web hierarchy. So there's one, it's a single page. So if you're kind of just working on layout and those simple graphic design ideas with students, this is a great place to start because it's a single page. They don't have to think beyond connecting it to other things. Later today, I have a session on using Wix for web design. And so that would be like a next level, definitely. If you're trying to get deeper into web design, that would be a tool to use. But this is perfect for single projects. And then also I have, if students are making multiple pages, because they just make multiple Spark pages, use a button to link them together.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, so I'm gonna go back home. I just have to click the SP in the top corner, and I'm going to just give you a quick view of a video. So videos are very much like a slideshow where you can add music, and we give it a title. There are templates, really storytelling templates that students can start from, but usually in most cases, what I've done in classes, we just start from scratch at the bottom. It does take a minute to load, and so just something to know. When I was doing virtual instruction last year, it was really hard to have students use Spark and Zoom at the same time. So it's just really something to keep in mind that it does pull a bit of memory and uses a bit of memory on your computer, even though it's web-based. So we would always I'd show it and demo it with kids and be like, okay, you can log off the Zoom now, work. And if I'll be in the Zoom, you can jump back in if you have any questions, but it just works better if two big programs aren't going at once. So once I'm in here, again, I always like to have kids start in the top corner, kind of think about what the theme of what you're talking about and pick some music. You can see that they can add music, but it's a really good time to talk about intellectual property and copyright and what music are you pulling in. Can you use that music? All the music here is Creative Commons license they can use. Then they can resize it. It can be a widescreen or a square. So if you're making something for your social media for your school, that's a great option. And then again, the themes, those brand themes that I'll show you in a minute, and then the themes that are pre-created. So let's choose this one. You can see there's a couple colors to pick from, and then it's a beautiful video immediately. Basically, wherever you see plus signs in Adobe Spark, that's where you add stuff. So you can add video, text, photo, or icons. And again, those photos are here for you to use. You can also take a photo. I'm smiling, but I'm a mess. You can take a photo and add it right in there. And then I'm going to add some text. You can see it's coming together very quickly. I can move the text down to the corner or up into the corner if I want. And then I can add a voiceover. We're having a great time at VISTE today. All right. My volume's off on the computer, so I can't hear it because we turned it off for the interference. But there would be a sound there. So basically, your students can just add, very much like a PowerPoint or a Google slide, just keep adding pieces, frames to their video. When they're done with the video, they can download it. It's one option. Or they can share it. And you'll see that if you have Canvas, you have a turn into Canvas button.
Wow.
Yes, let's talk about that. Yes, so there is Canvas integration. Who's never seen the turn into Canvas button before? I've got a lot of reactions. Okay, yes. So there is full Canvas LTI integration. So they can turn this into a Canvas assignment, but you can also create an LTI assignment, which I'll show you in just 1 minute. Let's just make sure we've seen everything there is to see here before we go to Canvas. The last thing I want to show you is a flyer or a graphic design. You can also do a custom size graphic. I'll start from there. You'll see all the different templates for all the different social media type posts. So if you're a person managing your school's social media, you'll find those templates here or major popular things. So let's do a YouTube thumbnail.
You can also look up the custom sizes. So if you are a Canvas school, you can look up the size for the course cards and then make very nicely looking course cards instead of the generic thing that comes with it.
And yes, we're also Canva lovers, and we'll talk about that tomorrow at our session if you come, 1 p.m. All right, so along the left side of Adobe Spark is where most of your, where you want to add stuff is going to be. So text, templates you can start from, photos, icons, which are connected to, I think, noun project, or maybe it's insert icon, one of the two. Design assets, which are more elements that you can have. So let's see, snowflake. All right. And then there's backgrounds. Basically, you just keep adding things to your picture, your element. I have no idea what I'm creating right here. This always happens to me in a presentation. I'm like, just start adding random things. I can click on this image right here, and I can say, there are some filters you can do down here. So I can change the colors with them. You can enhance them, and you can blur it if you wanted to. So maybe if we're putting this in the background of something, I'm going to stretch it to be my full background. Maybe I just kind of want to blur image for some reason. So you can get really creative with these. There are really nice templates to start from, and you guys are going to be making a post in just a few minutes. Again, students can download this and turn it in if they want it that way, or they can go to share again and have that turn into Canvas button. But you also see they can send it to their Google Drive too. I forgot to mention, all of these tools are collaborative, so they can totally add a classmate or you to it. So you can see a little head with the plus sign. I can look for Emily. If it's in your school has set up single sign-on, it's really easy to find other people in your district, and I can invite her to edit. Now, this is not edit and collaboration like a Google Doc. It's not in real time. So I would need to close it or stop working. She would need to work, let me know when she's done, and then I could refresh and see the changes she's made. So I hope that is coming. I've told them, and also I hope there's more accessibility built in, because it does lack some accessibility that I would like to see. If you're looking for a really great accessible tool, if you work with students that are visually impaired or hearing impaired, I can't recommend Book Creator enough for its accessibility features. There's some work to do here in the accessibility. All right, so the last thing I wanted to show you in Spark itself is branding. So this is where you can really customize that look. So to create a brand, all you have to do is say create a brand. Then you can upload a logo, or you can skip that step. You can pick a color, so any color in the rainbow. Save that one. And you can pick your font. If you like to go to places like deaffont.com or other font websites, you can upload those fonts to this space. So they have some fonts to start from. Also, as an accessibility thing, I always like to pick pretty nice sans serif clean fonts, because that's most legible for everyone. Yeah, these fonts down here at the bottom are fun, but just remember to really only use those for like titles or things that are big, and not for like whole paragraphs of text. So I like to pick in this modern, these ones are pretty clean. And then I'll just say next. I'll use this D21. And I'm going to create my brand. Now on the next page, I'll be able to add more colors to the brand kit and customize the look of my videos and web pages. So I can click and add more colors. Let's do, I guess this is a Christmas vibe. I didn't intend for that to happen, but there we go. And then you can add more fonts. So like this is my heading font, my body font. And then down here is where you can really customize the look of your videos and web pages. So you'll see for each, there's a light, a medium, and a dark theme. I can go into it and really customize how everything looks. So there's different title formats. I can decide what I want my titles to look like. I can go into the headings and decide what fonts I want those to be. So this is where you can really, and students can really customize on that design piece. If that's not a focus for you and what you want them to do, and you're really just focusing on the content and making something, just start from one of those pre-made templates and pre-made themes.
It is nice to start the beginning of the year, even with like the very intro, simplest part for the making a brand kit of font and color as a getting to know you activity and an icebreaker with students. Like you get to know a little bit about them in a not awkward way. You're not calling them out and saying like, hi, Katie, what's your favorite color? Do you have any pets? What did you do this summer? And then like, it's very awkward, especially in high school, like to ask those questions, but like you can slowly get to know students, be like, oh, you picked this color. Is that your favorite? Like and have something to talk about, and they kind of get to learn to start expressing themselves and starting to see that they do have a choice.
Can I ask another quick question? Did I notice that when you created the brand, you selected one color, it also automatically selected other colors for you, like complementary or?
No, it doesn't do
It
that.
didn't do that?
No, but there's a great tool that I love that will kind of do that for you. Coolers.co. Anyone been to this website before? This is a great palette generator, one of my favorites. So I started the generator, and all you have to do is click your space bar until you find a color you like. And so this is a website I use with students in building brands, and then they can lock this color in, and they can keep hitting the space bar, and the other 4 colors change. And while they may not all look good to us based on science, these colors go together in a palette. So I'll lock those 2 in. And so I always tell kids, you know, you want to have usually at least one neutral color. So I'll choose that gray, a black, brown, a white, and then your other 4 colors. Usually you want to make sure you have a dark color and a light color, because you want, if you're ever using images, creating images, and you want to have text and a background color, you want contrast to be good. So this is one place that you can go to find and build palettes.
Also great if you're redesigning your house or like trying to design a room.
Yeah. All right, so the last thing I want to show you before we get you guys creating is the Canvas assignment and the LTI assignment. So if you are a Google Classroom, anyone still using Google Classroom? All right, they also have an integration, so you can definitely check that out. Everyone else in here using Canvas? Wow, and there's a state LMS that makes it super easy, right? Okay, so I'm gonna make an Adobe Spark assignment. I like to put my directions, resources, and anything like that I want students to read here. And then when I go to make that assignment, I click Find, and Adobe Spark is right at the top because it's A. And then this connects to my account. So the very first time you log in, of course your Canvas admin will need to set this up. But the very first time I log in, I connected it to my account. Now everything that I've created is here. I have 2 choices. I can either let students start from something that I've given them. So for instance, I want everyone to kind of do their take on this post. I want them to take this template. It's giving them a template, just like I might do a forced copy of a Google Doc or a Google LTI. I'm gonna give them this copy. They'll all get a copy that they can then make and start from. I really love doing this with an Adobe Spark page. Like say I'm having them do that lab report. I might put the sections, the headings in the lab report. That way students remember like a nice scaffold to provide to them that, oh, I need to make the hypothesis section. I need to do my materials section. I need my methods. I need my results. So it's a nice way to provide a template for them to start from.
It's a great way to sneakily differentiate because it's through Canvas. You can assign different students different templates depending on the level of support they need.
So you'll see students when they go to the assignment, they're going to see any directions and resources that I give them up here, and then they get to make a copy, and it will take them to this. They'll click that blue button just like I am now, and they'll get their own copy of and they'll be able to edit it and then turn it back in. Any questions about that?
Got a question in the chat.
Okay.
It's asking, is there any integration with Schoology?
There is not currently an integration with Schoology. Yeah, what I would recommend for Schoology is for students to just come and download as a image, or for the web pages, you can create a link to share the web page. That would be the best way to submit. All right, so we're gonna move into our creation time, and it's really good if you can get back to the document that we've shared. Again, that is gonna be, if you came in here, the link to that is the bit.ly VIST21 Spark. And there's a link to a template that we've created for you to start from.
So if you are on our Spark page, if you scroll down, you're going to scroll down till you see this design challenge, and then click the link right here that says Adobe Spark Library Design Challenge. So what we're going to have you do, and we're going to walk around and help as needed, is for you to share. You're going to create based on the prompt, and then when you're done, hopefully you're gonna be willing and you can share it on social media to share out your Spark and your Adobe knowledge. And so we gave you some hashtags to share it, but you'll just click on the Design Challenge button.
Another way you can share is through a library like this. So if you don't have the Canvas integration, you can create a library like we've done here to share templates.
And then once you click on it, it will open here and you'll start it and then you're gonna click Create. So here's the template to start for today's challenge. And you'll just click Create. It's gonna take a minute to load. And this is the same as the prompt for the Adobe Level 1 badge. Is just what is your goal as a creative educator? And you're gonna just design as you wish. So remember that this is a post. So this would be something similar to seeing like what you would see on an Instagram post. So graphics, pictures, words.
And feel free to delete that, what is your goal as a creative
Yeah.
educator?
You don't need any of this part. You can keep the VISTE part if you want to remember that you made this here at VISTE. But you can go through if you need some design inspiration. You can kind of look at some templates to get some ideas. You could just jump in and add text. You can just add generic text. They also have cute layouts of text. You can add photos. This is also where you can upload photos from your computer, the icons, the assets, your backgrounds. And then if you already have a brand kit, you would find that down here in logos. So this is your chance to start creating. And then as you work, if you have any questions about this activity or about Spark in general, just shout it out and we'll answer as best we can or help you as best we can.
So if it tells me this,
Do you click on it? Oh, did you log in?
it did.
Oh, it's because you don't have a full account.
That's why I was just
Yeah.
wondering. So we don't
Yeah.
have that.
And there
Yeah,
was
I
a
Good
question
instructor
on the chat. So on Yahoo as well as Google. In Google, when you image search, you can click more and then you can filter for Creative Commons images as well.
If anyone wants a mint?
Is there a way to add a word cloud?
A word cloud? No, it's not very.
You,
You could
if
make
you made
text.
one somewhere else, download it as an image and then upload it as an image. Or you can just consistently add text and move it around to make your own word cloud. And for some people, being creative is a solo, quiet endeavor. For some, it's a community activity or collaborative or discussion. So if you want to need to talk to a friend, want to talk to a neighbor, go for it. And the apps for all three Spark products are also really great on iPhone and iPod or iPad. Not an iPod, they don't exist anymore. But so if you're an iPad school, this will work. If you have kids that want to do this on their own, they can as well. If you are a school admin, this is a great way to make like better branded graphics for things you send out. If you're a club sponsor,
I'm just manning the home audience for a moment.
it's just like the layers. Yeah.
Right, so you're putting a background on. So you can go ahead and get it. No, I understand.
you guys played with Spark before, be able to just drag it bigger and it will cover.
How we doing?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, so it just covers everything.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then change the layering, yeah.
These two makes the same.
Love it.
The words. Okay, so highlight the words, the first word. So. Okay. There.
Yeah, it is. Okay. And this is a really, if you know, great intro to having your students think about these design concepts so that when they do get to a professional level software like an Adobe Spark Premiere Rush or an Adobe Premiere Rush or an Adobe Creative Cloud tool like Photoshop or Illustrator or InDesign, that they have some idea of like just creation in general, because those tools can be very overwhelming. So they need some like general design skills before they would get to that tool where it is a lot about learning about the tool. Whereas these, it's more about the creation, is more freedom of creation and using a specific tool to do a lot of things.
Got another question in the chat.
Yeah.
If I'm looking to use this with a camp this summer and not all the students have a school account, will they need one to use Adobe Spark?
They could totally, it would just be with a free account. And depending on, just want to keep in mind like FERPA and COPA, like what kind of accounts you're asking students to make for camps and things like that. Always keep in mind, you might want to like just have like communication with the parents about creating accounts before maybe the camp is what I would recommend. Template is having a hard time loading for me. I'm wondering if you're having trouble Zoom at the same time. That could very much be it, Paula. Yeah. So if you're having a hard time with doing Spark and Zoom at the same time, you might just want to wait for later to try.
You can also do a lot with students with the different templates. Show them a choice of templates so they can, if they need more support to be more comfortable, like give them a few templates to pick from. And then over time, you can also, once they see that different templates can convey different messages, you might show them like, here's a great example of a way to convey in this concept versus that concept, and have them kind of debate like why one template or layout is better than another, depending on what they're trying to communicate.
And that might be a really good use for the library itself instead of an LTI assignment. If you wanted to create several templates, put them in a library, give the students a link to the library and say, hey, pick a template to start from instead of just the LTI, which gives them only one thing to start from. Just as a reference, like if I was in let me get to something I've made. Here we go. It's just a post. I can easily add something that I made to a library by going to share and then make a template. And then that will put it in my library. So you're trying to share something you've started, go to share and then make a template. And then this, you'll pick which library you want it to be in. And then anyone who has access to that library will be able to create it. Has anyone had like a Spark success that they like to share, a lesson they did or an activity they did? Yeah, please.
I discovered this early this school year and I just was so excited. It's the best thing I've done all year. I created an Adobe Spark video with like the tour of my classroom and all of my rules. Like I'm an art teacher, so I took pictures of my different zones And so like here's my sink, don't turn the water on full blast. So it was just the pictures and I did the voiceover. And then I did like a short video in Canvas Studio of myself talking. And then I had my student teacher introduce herself. So instead of having to say the same stuff 36 times, I could just play this video while I walked around the room and set up my seating chart. It was the best thing I've done.
And then also, like, your students' caregivers had access and they could watch it too,
Right.
which isn't something that's possible when you're just saying something in class.
Yeah.
So I
And
love
great
that.
for
Thank
kids who join your class 3 days late because of a schedule change, a month late because they were totally in the wrong class, or in April because they just moved. And at that point, you've forgotten to tell them, like, here's the rules, here's where things are. Like, it lets everyone know those same basics.
That's a question I have. So if you're like a designer with the Canvas modules, could I create something that's a resource out there and put it on a page where teachers could use it through Spark Adobe, but even though I'm not the direct teacher?
Yeah, so you might want to put it for them in a library where they could then make a copy and use it as an LTI assignment if they wanted to. That would probably be the easiest way for them to get a copy of something if you wanted, like, to give them a template, or you can just share and publish it and give it to them that way.
Like the video, I think that's cool.
Anyone else had a Spark success or a lesson that you've done?
I was able to successfully create something just now.
Yes.
So, yay. It is on the Padlet, Katie.
Oh, I love it.
On the-
Yes.
I don't know if that's where you wanted it necessarily.
Sure. You can either put it on your social media with the hashtags, because we want to share out our learning, right? That's like a ISTE standard, is like sharing our learning. Or you can add it to, we have a reflection Padlet that Emily's, might as well start now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've never done a 3-2-1 reflection, this is a great protocol. And we'd love to for you to go to the Padlet and share 3 new things you learned, 2 aha moments, and a big question you still have. Oh, Sean in the chat says that he collaborated with his gifted teacher recently to introduce her students to Adobe Spark. They are working on a creative presentations about the project they have been working on. Yeah, you can also use Adobe Spark Post as a presentation tool as well. You'll notice that, for instance, the page that we shared with you, when you can go into present mode and it would show each kind of frame separately. So like scroll to this would be a frame, and then this would be a frame. So you can also use Adobe Spark Page as a presentation tool. So we missed anything.
And I've had great luck supporting a lot of our L science classes. As a former science teacher, I really like floating in science because I am very comfortable with the content part and then the tech part. So it's let me kind of like help float in and support some of our newcomer classes where they're learning content, language, and technology. And they've had great success with using Spark because it lets them slowly build things over time, that they can add a picture and then they can go find the words that match it and come back to it. And then as a teacher, you can float around and give support and feedback. And it's not just this one final thing, it just grows over time with them as they work.
A couple weeks ago, I was in World History and we did TikTok style explainer videos, and students had the choice to do it either with Flipgrid or Adobe Spark, and 95% of the kids chose Adobe Spark. They very much, high schoolers, despite being on social media, very much don't want to be on camera. And so they just like the voiceover of Adobe Spark. They feel it was easier for them to use. So.
And when you add in that creativity element, it helps take away the copy and paste the answer from Google behavior that's very common, especially in high school. Like you give them a project about something, they're going to search it, they're going to want to just copy and paste, but now they have to like reformat it, and they have pictures that they're finding, pictures they're creating, voiceovers they're adding. They have to start to put it into their own words, and it helps them start to think about what they're doing.
Now, it doesn't mean that they're not gonna cheat,
Yeah.
but, and we all know what Quillbot is, right?
No.
Quillbot?
Quillbot?
Quillbot.
Will?
Yeah, it's AI. You can copy and paste anything, it paraphrases it for you. So if you think Turnitin is gonna catch things for you,
Not anymore.
AI is no. So you can copy your Wikipedia page, paste it in Quillbot, it rephrases it very nicely. Pretty miraculous. Go to Quillbot, Google it. And yeah, then that wouldn't be caught by something like Turnitin.
It was coming.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like a little shocking it took this long.
But what my teachers are like, oh, the Turnitin's, I'm like, Turnitin is not going to catch anything. It is, AI can now rephrase anything that, they want to copy and paste, getting kids to create something, adding like visual communication to it, having them talking about it. Like that's where the Adobe Spark, they have to talk about it, they have to share, is a little more powerful, and it stretches them in their cheating skills.
I really love that part of it because I think we often say kids are good with technology. They're doing TikTok, they're doing Instagram, they're good at those things, at shooting a 10-second video, but not necessarily at all those wonderful soft skills, the checklist that they really need to be developing. This takes care of all of that.
So thank you guys so much for coming. Do you have any closing words?
No, but the only thing would be like if you would love, we would love to see your 3-2-1 reflections like over time as you're working on it, and share out your creations on social media. You can tag us or you can just use the hashtags we gave you. And then the very last part of the presentation, as well as the page, there's a feedback
Yeah, there is a
action
feedback.
that we would love. It's a shameless plug also for both of us. We like our lifelong learners. We want to improve. We're also doing the ISTE certification and need to do some reflection. So
It will help us. It's hard to reflect, like iron sharpens iron, right? Like we need to hear some, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, is there a way that you can add a link, like a clickable link onto,
An image.
on text? So if I have a link that I would like for them to click on, could I put like, click here and read, or does it need to be an image? Okay, yeah. You would have confusion in each page, because the idea of these is like, but PDF beta.
We have both at my school or in our district,
Right, we do.
and I really recommend this for people who need less choice. Canva has like all
So many.
the choices, and that can be paralyzing. And I love it, but this can be a nice starter tool, especially for younger kids, as there are less choices.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
this is a nice intro to graphic design and creation. And you can also help streamline kids into what they're creating. Are they creating a post, a page, or a video? And kind of help grow their skills over time. And then as they get better, that might be when you switch to something like Canva, where all of the choices are in one space.
It also, if you're a teacher and you're having to learn 500 tools, it can be a lot. If you can kind of just do Spark, it's a really easy choice board. They still have choice to make a post, a page, or a video, but you don't have to know 500 tools. And if you want to know more about creation, we're going to be talking about Canva tomorrow at 1 p.m. Slow.
Thank you.
And we have a lot of swag at that one.
So thank you guys. Yeah, if you are done, feel free to escape
Yeah.
the crowds for the snack in the restrooms.
Thank you all.
Thank you.